Well, Pennsylvania requires reports like this to be filed whenever a child dies or nearly dies from abuse. But the reports have gotten virtually no public scrutiny, at least not until now. Action News Investigates reviewed dozens of these reports. We found multiple cases where authorities said children's lives could have been spared if someone in the child welfare system had been paying closer attention. You see this little girl, I mean, what goes through your mind?
It's hard to respond to that because it's my niece. It brings tears.
Kaylee Burkholder was just 20 months old when police say her father, Domer, punched her in the stomach. A day later, she was dead. Just 2 weeks earlier, records show Fayette County Children and Youth Services got a complaint about Kaylee's parents, who had 3 other children. The complaint came from Kaylee's uncle.
Well, they was on the drugs. They was all on drugs real bad, and with the children, I didn't want the children around that.
The death review report says Fayette County assigned a 24-hour response time to the complaint, indicating a severe concern. Caseworkers never found the Burkholder family until the day Kaylee died, but they tried looking only 3 times over a 16-day period. That is insufficient, according to the State Human Services Department. It says Fayette County violated state regulations on response times. Action News Investigates went to the head of Fayette County CYS. Had the caseworker been able to find that family sooner, would Kaylee still be alive?
I can't answer that. If the caseworker would have gone out and found a problem, if the family would have been open, perhaps, but I really couldn't say for sure.
Why didn't they contact me?
Kaylee's uncle tells me no one from CYS ever called him to find out where her family was staying. If they had, he could have told them they were right here, living in their car in this driveway, less than a mile from his home. Could you have literally taken them right to where the family was?
Yes, I could have.
Had you done that, what do you think might have happened?
I don't believe Kaylee would have died.
Someone should have called him back then. Mm-hmm. But you don't know why no one did.
I can't answer that now.
Action News Investigates asked State Human Services Secretary Ted Dallas about the slow response time in the Burkholder case.
Failure to meet those timeframes is a sign that something's wrong with the agency, and what that usually means is there are not enough caseworkers to meet the caseload they have.
I think we did have some trouble with the turnover and the lack of caseworker staff, with the amount of calls that we had. We had a big issue.
At that time in late 2013, 40% of Fayette CYS caseworkers had just 6 months or less experience. Each worker was handling about 30 cases. Since then, 2 workers have been added, but the overall caseload has soared by 48%. Records show Fayette CYS missed other warning signs in the Burkholder case. 6 months before Kaylee died, CYS got a complaint that her brother was on the roof of their house trying to grab a power line. Also, that the parents were hitting the children and the family house had no running water. Wouldn't there be an indication of imminent danger?
Yes, absolutely.
But Dioria says there was confusion between the 2 caseworkers involved, so the case was marked as unfounded. And that shouldn't have happened.
Should not have happened.
Domer Burkholder pled guilty to homicide and got up to 40 years in prison. Jessica Burkholder, Kaylee's mother, pled guilty to endangering the welfare of a child and was sentenced to jail time. But Robert Burkholder says CYS is also to blame.
Somebody died because of this. Because of the negligence. Somebody should be held responsible. The children and youth that I contacted, they should be held responsible.
Action News Investigates found other child death cases where the county child welfare agency came under criticism. In Beaver County, where 2-year-old Brooklyn and 3-year-old Riley Beatty were crushed by a dresser that fell on top of them. Police said their father was in the house but did not respond for at least 10 minutes. Police also said the house was in deplorable condition.
Children should not be left behind, and that's what happened in this case.
The death review found 2 years earlier, Beaver County CYS inspected the Beatty home and recommended the mother and father attend parenting classes. But the county closed its case without following up to see if the parents actually went to classes. The State Human Services Department found better monitoring by the county could have prevented the poor safety decisions by the parents, and the girls' deaths could possibly have been prevented. The director of Beaver CYS did not respond to multiple calls from Action News Investigates. Parents David and Jennifer Beatty pled guilty to endangering the welfare of children and were sentenced to probation. In North Braddock, 3-year-old twins Dehair and Kehair Arthur were killed in this fire that they caused when their mother left the house. Police say Delana Barronlett had been gone nearly an hour looking for drugs. She later pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment and got a prison sentence. The death review found Allegheny County CYF had an 8-year history with the family, but little progress was made. At the time of the children's death, the family was supposed to be getting services from the county, but no services were being rendered. That was a violation of state rules. Mark Cherna is director of the County Human Services Department. What lesson was learned there?
Yeah, well, one of the lessons was, a screening tool would be really helpful. And the other lesson is you must go back and look at the history.
As a result of this case, Cherna says the county gave caseworkers a tool to more easily see the full history of troubled families. Preventing more children from dying is the main reason for death reviews. But records show the number of abuse-related deaths in Pennsylvania is growing. And more than half of all those deaths are children whose families were in the child welfare system. Dr. Rachel Berger, head of the Child Advocacy Center at Children's Hospital, says more needs to be done.
Right, so there are children we know now that are known to Child Protective Services that are going to die. And the question is, should we be doing more for those children?
Of course, most people would say, yes, we certainly should be doing more for these children. Now, coming up at 6, we'll tell you about a new effort right here in Pittsburgh to help prevent more children from dying from abuse.